Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas. Over 135 years of history resides within these walls. Hosting everything from a brothel to a courthouse, the hallways now run rife with the bootsteps of both sides of the law. Come in off the trail and kick up your boots, but choose wisely. You never know who will be your bunkmate. Donning Western apparel, we swing open the doors to the past. It's a showdown at sunset at the Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas. Welcome to Everything Vaguely Paranormal. Hello, everybody. We are back. Just want to welcome y'all back to. I'm sorry. We've had a wonderful little pre-broadcast. We're still giggling from it. But anyways, let me introduce my co-host in crime, Ryan Roberts, and Shelly Pruitt. We are here to talk about Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas. Now, we're going to try and get through this beginning without giggling because, like I said, we just had about a 30-minute giggle fest prior to this.
That is Patreon exclusive content, not safe for work.
No, not safe for work at all. No. We are working on our bonus content, which is... We are going to be doing 30-minute pre-broadcast that is not live. That will be on a Patreon account that we are working on right now. So that is coming. And if you don't watch those, you're missing half the story.
You think it gets wild here.
We behave when we're on here with you guys.
Yes. We just got told we need to start an OnlyFans for our pre-broadcast. So funny enough, we had that story going on. So tonight we're going to be taking y'all through Old Park Hotel, giving you basically a virtual guided tour through this wonderful establishment. But before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Dan and Connie LaFave for having us again. Amazing, amazing hosts, wonderful people, and preservationists of the paranormal, as well as investigators. Love them. So thanks again, Dan and Connie, for having us. We enjoyed it, and we hope to come back soon. So
it's never a dull time at Old Park.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah. And you know what? This last time, we labeled this last time as a quiet night.
And this was a quiet night, and it was an X-rated night.
Yes.
So by the way, if you have delicate ears or delicate sensibilities, you need to just leave now, because this is not okay. If you're at work, make sure you have any headphones, because you're going to hear some words and some nasty stuff get dropped, and we are not responsible for what the spirits say. But it is funny as hell.
It is funny, because I know we've been spending all this time on these like nasty places where we're like, oh, they're screaming at us and they're wanting to kill us and hurt us. It's not always like that. I mean, it's like that a lot. Don't get me wrong. But this time it was just hilarious. So there's a lot of things we cannot wait to show you some of these videos.
Yeah, you were saying sometimes, they want to kill us and hurt us. These might want to love on us a little bit too much. So
yep.
Hey,
getting a little too frisky at the Old Park Hotel.
Let me tell you, we dressed in Western attire. We had the sheriff, and we had, of course, Ryan, I just pictured you as the bad guy. You just have that little walking into town, just going to tear somebody up kind of look about you. And me, I was dressed basically like a whore. So, and funny because I get called that quite often.
Quite often.
But it was fun.
Here we are.
Yeah, there we go.
So that's how we were dressed, and I think that we, being human trigger objects, absolutely riled some things up in there, and I think that I think the spirits there had so much fun with us, obviously. Some a little more than we wanted them to, and that was our whole crew that investigated with us that night. And thanks you guys for coming out and for being good sports and playing along and donning your Western attire as well. We had a blast. So can we get into it?
Yes.
I'm ready. I've been ready.
We've been dying.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So just a real brief history of this building. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, over 135 years worth of history at this very prominent landmark. Started as a bunkhouse for the railroad workers circa 1886. And from there, it has changed hands so many times. It's been so many different things. It's gone from that to it's been a schoolhouse. It has been a courthouse. It's been an antique store. It has been a brothel on 2 separate occasions. That's my favorite word, by the way. It has, excuse me, it's been a restaurant at one point. Is that correct, Shelley?
I don't recall the restaurant, but it has been so many things. I know at one point, was it also a school?
Schoolhouse.
Yep.
And it was also a music store at one point.
Yep.
And I mean, just the range of things that has been housed in this location. You know, there's got to be some people that came back. I mean,
oh yeah.
I mean, I want to go back all the time. I'm going to go back whenever I die, and I'm going to haunt Old Park. That's what I want to do.
In your brothel costume, though.
In my brothel costume. Y'all, you know what? I got so upset because, you know, at one point we were ready to take those pictures and I had my car keys in my hand. And I decided, well, I'll just put them right here in my cleavage. And so I did my little pose, and then I stood up. My keys fell through to the bottom. I'm like, y'all, I need a good plastic surgeon. I need to, you know, I need some help. Your keys shouldn't be falling straight through to the ground. It kind of hurt my feelings, but the spirits of the Old Park kind of raised my spirits back up.
Not to mention the spirits that we partake in.
So, yes, we tried to be authentic. We had us a little saloon party going in, and which involved, you know, of course,
spirits.
It was yes, exactly. Spirits were
with
flowing
the spirits.
from exactly. So let's go. Let's talk about this.
Okay. So as I said, we're going to guide you through this hotel. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. But before we even get into the hotel, we're actually going to just throw up our very first piece of evidence that we have that was taken with me and Shelley. We decided to do a little, I don't know, little promo photo or something. I don't know. Somebody said, Shelley, throw your leg up here in Blake Pit. And Shelley went, what?
Honey, I'm still flexible. I want some damn credit for that.
It's true. You are. And you did. So
and I did.
We were outside the basically the front door and we were taking a photo. And so this is the first photo that we took. So yeah. So as you can see, pay attention to Shelley's face. You know, Shelley's face, nice looking at me. That's me on the right. We're having fun. We're giggling. We're laughing. And a second photo is taken right after that. And this is basically how the night started.
That's not my face.
That ain't you.
That is not Shelley's face.
No.
So it's funny because after I put on that costume, and I'm telling you, I was fine when I was doing my hair. I was fine when I was doing my makeup. But the second I pulled on those fishnets and put those shoes on, then you said, hey, can you help me with something? Child, I didn't have on no breeches. And I just pulled my T-shirt down and it was covering up my hiney. And I just walked out in the hall and I'm like, now I'm not modest. But even I was kind of like, what the hell are you doing? And I was talking to Paula on her drive home. And she said, yeah, you really kind of leaned into it once you got that outfit on. It's like I kind of took on the character. I mean, I was at the top of the stairs and Dan says, hey, you look great. Let me take a picture. And I'm like, oh, honey, the prices here just went up. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I saying? Where did that come from?
Yeah, and somebody said, I can't remember who said something to you, but the first thing you looked at them and you said, oh, honey, you can't afford me. That's the first thing you said.
I was like leaning into that character really hard.
You were big time.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. It's like, I don't know, maybe because I'm a theater kid, give me a costume and I'm ready to go. But it was weird.
I think there was a little bit more of leaning into it. I think that you were honestly being influenced by something throughout the night because, I mean, the first thing you did after you got that costume done, I mean, you came to mine and my aunt's room and you didn't skip a beat. You were like, what can I get you, sir? And I was like, what? I guess I'll take a shot of Fireball. Why not? Let's go. And you come up with that little tray and you're like, here you go. I mean, I think you had a little bit of influence just besides
not
you lean
not
into the
not
character.
not like Fireball or anything like that.
No,
'cause I
no,
hadn't
no,
had
no.
any.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah,
just I
not
literally
alcohol.
not alcohol. It was like I had just the second I put on
Yeah.
that costume and I was done. I was like, boom! I was in the character, and I'm like,
Yeah,
going,
you
Go
was
ahead,
right
Mike.
into it. You know, you immediately the first thing you came downstairs, you were like taking drink orders, and you were getting, you know, being real bawdy and real boisterous, you know, and everything. And it was just like, man, Shelly is really dedicated to this. So.
I'm a method actor. I lean into my part. Leave me alone.
Sure.
So lots of research went into this role then.
I'm not sure how to answer that. So yeah, right before we ever get started, they noticed that something is different with my face, and this picture was taken by a professional photographer, and one of them is perfect, and one of them, my face is different. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh hell, y'all can't put that up. I'm looking all kinds of freaky, ugly there, but the first one looks like me, and the second one does not.
No,
So it started right off the bat.
Yeah. So, and then things just, I don't know, progress from there. So let's start with them with the tour. We're going to start them downstairs. We're going to take them through the downstairs, and then we're going to take them into the upstairs, because it doesn't really matter where you go in this hotel. The spirits are going to come find you. They want to play. So, and y'all bear with me, I've got 82 photos.
We're not going to show you all of them.
No,
we
we're
want to
not.
show you the best ones.
So,
oh God, there's no telling how many we took in the first place, but
oh
going
my
through
gosh,
those.
I'm not
anyway.
kidding. Not even kidding. So the first room, when you walk in, and unfortunately we realized that we didn't have any pictures at the very entrance. I don't know
But
why.
it's like a little gift shop, and it's
Yes.
got that little like reservation desk where you check in. That's where Dan and Connie, check everybody in, and if you want to buy a little souvenir, like my fantastic I survived the night at the Old Park Hotel in Ballinger T-shirt, and this is not a gratuitous boob shot. It's just I want to show off the shirt. So we know we don't have any of those to show off. Again, plastic surgeons, call me. Let's talk. So you can get your T-shirts and all your accoutrements there. And so this is a fantastic little area. And whenever you walk in, you feel them.
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
without a doubt.
Yeah, I just got chicken skinned up.
I mean, I feel like when I stepped across the threshold, you could instantly feel it, and
it's definitely thick. Yeah, it's definitely thicker on the inside, and you can definitely tell it's something there. But
it's dirty.
We're getting to the dirty part later on. Chill out, Shelly.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that part.
So it's coming. Don't worry. We got like 3 rooms to go to, and then we're there. So anyways, when you first walk in, you turn to the left, and you're greeted by a staircase. And even the staircase to me is creepy in and of itself. This is the staircase you're greeted with. Now, a lot of stuff has happened on these stairs. A lot of people have caught apparitions on these stairs. And for some reason, the last 2 times that we've gone, we have neglected the staircase. I don't know why. We have just completely neglected it. But you go down beside the staircase, and you're in this hallway right here. So the staircase is at the back next to the window, and you come to a room that is called, well, we call it, I don't know if it's what they call it, but we call it the Victrola room. Now, the Victrola room also has this fancy little room inside of it called Psychomantium.
Ooh, big word.
Yeah. Now, a psychomantium, I'll leave that up while we explain it just a little bit. In parapsychology and spiritualism, a psychomantium is a small room that has a mirror inside that is dimly lit that allows you to stare into the darkness and talk to the dead, basically.
It's like scrying, but on a larger level, because the psychomantium has usually more than one mirror, one usually in front of you and behind you, and one usually on either side. And they do not disappoint. They even had mirrors on the floor in this psychomantium. Because trust me, I was looking at my feet. I'm like, don't nobody creep up on my feet while I'm in here.
Exactly. So the fun portion about the Victrola room is there's poltergeist activity at Old Park Hotel. Shelly, why don't you? I love the way you tell this story. So why don't you take this over and you tell this story?
So when Blake and I had gone there, we were the first ones in, and Connie was kind enough to give us a tour. And so she's walking around, she's showing us this. We walk in and the Victrola was there. And that was the first time I'd ever seen the Victrola. And I was so excited. I'm like, holy cow, does it work? And she's like, yeah. She goes, here, let me show you how to use it. And you guys can use it tonight. And I was like, really? That's awesome.
Hell
so
yeah.
you have to wind it up. and then you very gently set the nail on it, and this, all this old music comes out. I'm not a singer, fuck off.
What does it do again? Tell me.
Yeah, one more time, Shelley. Go ahead.
Leave me alone.
One more time.
Do you want to hear the end of the story or not? So anyway, so we played with this, and Blake and I start cutting up. We start dancing. We're just being stupid. We're just being idiots, playing around, dancing. Kicking up our heels. And Connie says, well, let me show you down here. And so there's this curtain that you walk through. So Connie steps to the curtain. Blake holds the curtain for me. I walk out, and Blake follows me out. We walk all the way down the hall, and we get about halfway down the hall, and we hear this bang. We were like, did y'all hear that? Connie's like, yeah, I heard that. And she goes, well, let's go ahead and finish walking down here, and then we'll go see what it is. So we walk down, and we hear another bang. We don't know what that is. So we're like, okay, let's go see what's up here. We go back up. We're looking around at all the rooms as we're going back up. And we don't see anything. So she walks up to show us a picture of the deacon and Manny, and I forget the other gentleman that's in that frame photo. John Wesley Hardin. So she's showing us that picture. And I've seen the picture before, but Blake hadn't, so he's looking at it. And for whatever reason, I just kind of moved this curtain over and kind of peek in there. And that's exactly the angle I had. And I'm like, Connie, hey, come here. Everybody walks in there, and the bell of that Victrola is setting down on that table beside it. When we left, the Victrola was intact. That is something I have not been able to debunk. And the thing is it's hard to get it off. You have to literally jerk it. And Connie was like, no, we didn't leave that like that. I'm like, I know we didn't. I just didn't want you to think we did it because we didn't touch that. We all walked out together. Nobody's been in there. And something had taken the bell of that Victrola off and set it right on top of the records. I guess they didn't like the music we're playing. Yes, perfectly centered.
Yes.
Perfectly centered on top of the records. And Connie put it on there, and she had shoved that thing to get it back on. And then she tried to pull it and almost pulled the Victrola off onto the floor. She was trying to pull it off. It did not come off easily. And the way it's sitting, it would have fallen onto the floor if it would have just fallen off. Mm-hmm. But that bang, I guess, was the initial bang was the pulling it off, and then the bang to set it down. And y'all, we could not explain that. That was that. And now, did we not? Every time we walked past that room after that, check. Okay, Victrola's fine. Yeah, it's like
until we left. Just
and that would take a large amount of energy to move. Not only unfasten it, pick it up, and then set it perfectly down,
perfectly centered on the records. And that was something that we could not debunk. And we knew for a fact that there was no one else there because we had locked the door. It was me, Connie, and Blake, and that was it. There's nobody else in that building. I'll explain that.
And that was within the first 20 minutes.
Of us
arriving. Like you said, we were the only ones that were there, and there was nobody else in the building. And I'm with you. I can't explain it. No idea, other than poltergeist activity.
We had that happen several times too.
Yeah. In the continual tour, but we'll get there whenever we get to those areas. So. But anyway, so that's the fun part about the Victrola and the Victrola room. Shelley, thank you for telling that story. I love when you tell that story. You have a way. So, Connie, come here.
Just come in here. Come here.
So this little doohickey of a room here, as we said, the Psychomanium. Ryan, this is actually your first time to see this. Mm-hmm. So what were your thoughts on this little wonderful room?
I thought, it was a room that I wanted to get into, but that was the first Psychomantium I've ever seen in person. I was like, something, I guarantee you, because the way, like I said, the way that place feels, I felt like if you were to get into that room, you would definitely see something or feel something for sure. And you had a little a little fun time in there.
Me and Shelley both did.
Mm-hmm, yes, you did.
Yeah. So I'll tell mine first, and then Shelley, you more than welcome to tell yours afterwards. But I decided to go in there. This is after one of the other guests that had gone inside. Tim, he was there with us, and he had gotten on the spirit box in there that they wanted somebody else to talk to, and he asked them, who do you want? And they said, Blake. And they said, go get him.
Yes. And I was a witness to that because I could hear it outside. We thought what we heard was an investigator's voice being mocked through the spirit box. And Ryan was like, should I go get him?
It sounded just like him because we were sitting there and
we both
the spirit box was loud enough where we could hear it through the door on the Psychomantium. And we were just kind of sitting there listening to Tim ask questions. And what came through the spirit box, it sounded just like another one of our investigators going, hey. And I was like,
both of us
where is
looked
he? And
to see if he had walked in the room.
Yeah. And so I went to go find you to see if you knew where he was. And we did know where he was. But as I was out of the room, as soon as I left the room, that's when it said, go get Blake.
It said, time to change. And he said, who do you want? It said, a female. And he goes, no. He goes, would you like to have, he started naming off names of the investigators. And then he said, Blake. And you hear, go get him. And it was right then that you walked through that curtain to come in there. And I'm like, well, isn't this convenient? Get your ass in the Psychomantium.
So I took my little turn up in there, and I took, the spirit box in there, and I took my camera in there, and I started recording it. This video will be on our YouTube channel later, so you can watch what I experienced inside. But I wasn't getting anything inside through the spirit box itself until I heard out of my ear, I heard something, disembodied voice right next to my ear, and the back of my neck, it just went on the back of my neck. And I went, oh no, and hit the door with my elbow. I grabbed everything. I got out of there. Y'all watched me walk out of that room. Yeah. I threw that spirit box down, and I
you were done.
I wasn't done though, but I wasn't done though because I threw that spirit box down, and I turned right back around. I walked right back in that Psychomantium, and I shut the door. And in the second part of the video, you hear me go, all right, you want me in here? All right, son of a bitch, you can't talk to me through. And Shelly's in the background. I could just hear her go, oh, he's mad. He's mad at something. He getting it.
Now, we have all had our turn being mad at that location in certain spots.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have. But it pissed me off because I was sitting there asking it questions, trying to get it to communicate with me and all that stuff. And it says something in this ear, grabs the back of my neck. I'm like, no, just have a conversation. And then I started saying, well, show yourself. You're going to do all that? Show yourself in this mirror. Let me see your face. Let me see what you look like. Never solved anything. I think I called it a pussy and then walked out.
You did. And and you're a pretty easygoing dude. And I told Shelly, I was like, man, whatever breathed on his neck must have really pissed him off because you went flying back in there and you were calling it every damn name in the book. So.
I did. Yeah.
We don't start it, we finish it.
That's it. If they open the door, we're going to stand our ground. We just don't start it. That's the thing. So now, Shelly, you went in prior to me. So what was your experience like in there? And I'll put the picture back up.
Well, whenever I went in, I said, I said, you've got 10 minutes, whatever you want to say or do, go ahead. And I was running the spirit box. And I don't remember what the first thing that came through that they said to me was, but the second thing they said was whore. And I'm like, okay, listen, I already took the costume off. I'm like, can we move on to something else? And then as I've got the camera up and I'm holding the camera. And I said, why don't you do something? I said, why don't you change my face in the mirror? I said, I'm looking in the mirror. I've got the camera rolling. Change my face. Make me look like somebody different. And I swear that there was something that was standing behind me because you hear me go, oh, fuck no. I flipped around and I turned the camera and I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, but it looked like something just like came up like right behind me and was just like coming up this way. And I'm like, oh, hell no. But I'm like, you know what? Okay. All right. I'm like, I'm sorry. Did I scare you? Come on back. I'm ready now. Now I'm ready. See, you were creeping up on me. I wasn't ready. Now I'm ready. And I held that camera and I said, come on, change my face. Now, whenever I came out of there, I showed Ryan the picture that I caught and my face looks melted and my eyes are huge and it looks like I have no teeth.
It looks like your jaws like puff out too.
Yeah. And my jaw's like this big.
And we'll have to post that picture because we didn't get that into the studio in time to be able to post it on here. So we'll have to post that to our page so that people can see that.
But it absolutely made my face change in the mirror. And I'm like, oh, look at that. Time's up. Like, I told you only have 10 minutes. That's all you got. And I came out. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
So Psychomantium is a fun little room.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for the faint of heart. I will say that.
I do
It's
want to get in there
intimidating.
next time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, was not able to get in because I think we were kind of running.
We just ran out of
short on
time.
We did.
There's just so much to see and so much to do in here. So next time we go, I definitely want to get in there and see what happens.
Yeah. So speaking of so much to do, when you exit the Victrola room, it sounded like a good segue. I just ran with it. Okay. And you come out, you're staring down the remainder of the hallway, which we have kind of classified the unfinished portion of the hallway. So
The
we know
lower unfinished portion.
the lower unfinished portion. So you're staring down to the very ends of these wonderful. Dan and Connie use them for storage right now. There are a couple of in there that have chairs and whatnot. But you eventually come to a room, and this is where it gets comical, that they call the library. This is probably my highlight.
Well, you do learn a lot in that room, apparently.
Apparently, you do. And apparently there is a lot of reading, but not with books. They just like to call Shelley a whore, basically. But this is
the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the table inside. Stacy just said that hallway is hell.
That hallway, that place is Stacy's nemesis, and that hallway is her hell. She does not like to go down that hallway alone, and I don't blame her. Whenever you walk through that curtain, it doesn't matter what time of day, that hallway is pitch black, and you can't see. You might get a little light coming in from one of the rooms, but that light only extends pretty much to the threshold of that door, and then you have big sections of darkness to walk through, and it's frightening.
And it just feels immediately different. Like I said, when you walk in the front door, you can feel it. But when you walk past that curtain into that hallway, it just takes on a whole nother vibe.
Makes you look over your shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that is the area that we like to do our Estes methods in Old Park. Yes, with the Ouija table right there. We like to set all of our equipment right on that Ouija table. And Tim said, and it's cold, like freezing. The hallway is freezing. And yes,
that hallway is freezing cold.
Absolutely.
There is at least probably a 20-degree temperature change from the finished portion to the unfinished portion.
It's not like they have central heat and air. There's no central heat and air in there.
No. So we like to do our Estes methods in the library with the Ouija board. And so that's where things tend to have gotten really comical. So this is after, to kind of set the scene. This is after we decided we were going to dress up in our costumes. And so we've already dressed up in our costumes, and we've had our little party, and now we've
kind of walked around the building in our costumes as well.
Yes.
Kicking up stuff.
And Blake says, y'all, it's about to go down. I think we need to get out of these costumes because we got to be ready to move. We're like, okay.
So we go and change, and we almost immediately, I think we went down and did Estes in the library, did we not?
I think that was the first thing we did afterwards. Yep.
Yeah. And so this is how it pretty much started.
Am I making you angry?
Ryan.
Too bad. You can get mad all you want to because we'd like to talk to ladies and you can't make them.
It's you.
Oh, you're mad at me? Won't be the first time.
So at least it's not me.
At least it's
Go away. That was a woman.
Do you want me to go away or do you want the group to go
Ooh,
away?
I think a guy said I'll fuck you.
Well, I was in a cute little outfit earlier. I got to admit. Oh, is that okay? So who's this? Who is that said that?
I mean, that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Right off the bat. It was a brothel at one point, so the people who were there you're still looking for brothel ladies.
Yeah. But however, it did not stop there, people.
That was the beginning of the dirty talk.
Yeah. It decided to keep going.
Come on, finish your sentence. What'd you start?
I heard a female that said eat cock.
Hey, baby.
Ooh, y'all getting all kinds of flirty. You're just making me blush now.
Oh, real nasty.
You asked for it.
Oh, aren't you sweet?
Y'all, I didn't know which way to look. I was scared to turn my back on either one of you because I suspect somebody pinched my ass or grabbed something. I was like, oh, hell. You notice I was kind of like, okay, wait a minute. I ain't turning my back on either one of y'all.
And I'm sorry, but when I went back to rewatch that, if it would have been me that yelled eat cock, it would have been one thing. But the fact that it's Ryan, you are one of the
nicest
last
guy.
people.
Yeah.
I would have ever imagined yelling something like that.
And Ryan, you made a point to make sure you were heard. It said eat cock.
and it was loud in my ear too. I mean, I don't know. I think she was just like immediately eat cock. I was like, all right. I'll tell her.
So you see, they
She
don't
yelled
always
it.
tell us to die. You know, sometimes they tell us to eat cock. Y'all, I've watched it so many times that they had not watched it, so they had actually not seen it. Of course, I was leading, so I heard every bit of it, and y'all, I'm crying. But I listened to that. I'm like, oh my God, have you guys listened to this? They're like, not yet. I'm like, oh shit, go listen to it. I said, but be prepared. You're gonna have to listen like 5 times because you're gonna be laughing so hard that you missed some of it. So
I know. I was in the floor later this afternoon when I was looking over it. So.
it's like, okay.
But it was the funny, just right after this, hey, baby.
It's like, hey, baby. I'm like, y'all already changed. I ain't in that persona no more. But
Oh, y'all get hot. I'm getting flustered over here. All right.
I'm blushing.
So, now, we did have a very interesting moment where they did get a little bit nasty. Only with one person in our group, though.
Yeah.
And it was
They got
well,
nasty.
2 people. Yeah. 2 people in this little clip right here. But yeah, this we thought was very compelling.
Preacher man, you there? Deacon.
Deacon doesn't like to talk to guys. Deacon
Fuck
likes
you. Deacon, I thought we were friends.
No, Deacon likes to talk to girls.
So there's that one.
Mm-hmm.
Preacher man. He says, preacher man, deacon. I thought you wanted to talk to me. Fuck you. And then there's this one.
Do you like me? Fuck you. Again.
I told you, Deacon don't like talking.
Deacon, I thought we were brother preachers here.
I think Manny's here with him.
Fuck you. Same guy?
See?
I'm a good Christian, I promise.
You see why we started off saying this is not safe for work? Put in your headphones if you are at work listening to this, because all you hear is F you, F you, F you, F you. And we are not responsible for what the spirits say. So,
No.
Dan, I'm sure Blake apologizes for saying fuck you to you.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, no,
Dan,
Blake, I'm like, oh,
Dan,
whatever.
I seriously apologize. Say fuck you to
It
you.
wasn't you, it was Deacon.
Yeah, wasn't me. It was Deacon. Dan said that's the Old West for you. Very true, though.
And in all fairness, Deacon does kind of, wherever I'm at, Deacon does kind of follow me around, because whenever we'd gone down there in the costumes and I'd said, well, I'm going upstairs to change. I'm like, no, Deacon, don't follow me because I don't want you to peep. And y'all started running a spirit box session, and what'd y'all ask him?
Where'd you go?
Yeah, where'd you go?
Because it went quiet. You walked out of the room and it just went quiet. And I was like, where'd you go? And I think, Ryan, you asked, did you follow Shelly? I think that's what you said. And he came through and he goes, upstairs.
Yep. It's clear as day to the spirit
Clear
box.
as day.
And by the way,
Upstairs.
I was up there by myself. Thank y'all, assholes. I was up there by myself. And I walk out, I'm half dressed because I think I hear somebody in the hallway, and I'm thinking, oh crap, I've got the door halfway open. I better close the door. And I look out in the hall, I'm like, these assholes left me up here by myself. I'm like, oh well, I'm half naked. I can't do anything about it right now. So yeah, I quickly changed my clothes and rejoined the group.
So from there, they got a dirty again, basically. We'll just
Basically.
we'll just go that
But I
route.
want
Sure.
You didn't even let me ask the question. I was going to ask if there's somebody in
Yes.
room. Would you let me ask?
He will do.
He will do. I was going to say, which guy's room are you going into tonight? I guess anyone will do. Hey.
He'll do.
That is what I was going to ask. I was going to say, which guy's room are you going to go into? I was trying to talk to the ladies. And I'm like, which guy's room? And I'm like, which guy's room? And they're like, he'll do. And I'm like, y'all let me ask the question. I'm telling you, the ladies were getting nasty.
But it
So were the
continues.
guys.
But
Yes,
it
it does.
continues.
You know me,
I know I do. But you got to give me a name because I know a lot of people.
Shelly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Where's your room?
Oh, you know where my room is. Same
Dick.
thing I always have. Oh, y'all don't get to fighting over me, honey. Don't get to fighting over me. There's plenty of me for everybody.
I'm ready.
I bet you are. You
Oh,
sound.
something's touching my ankle.
Don't touch Blake, please. I don't see anything down there. Please don't touch Blake. That's not the way we're doing this. You're not allowed to touch anybody.
Let's get it on.
You know what?
I'm here.
Oh,
Sexy.
yeah, I like you. I like you even more every time I talk to you.
Told you it's real.
Something's touching my ankle. Let's get it on. I'm ready. Sexy. Just,
Yeah, I liked whoever was talking to you, Blake. You're like,
Yeah.
like, well, aren't you sweet?
absolutely.
Yeah, honey.
Yeah,
I
somebody
played
took a
you
real
in
liking to
gas.
you.
That's
Oh,
right.
wait. Probably my favorite one ever, though. I think this is the right one. Let me see. Hold on.
Are we talking to the brothel ladies right now? Can you give me some indication over here if we're talking to one of the ladies of the brothel?
I'm dirty.
I bet you are, child. You got paid to be dirty. Tell me, what's
This is like very sexual over here. I
It's
feel
gonna
like
get more so.
Oh, yeah.
it's a male. Consistently a male.
So tell me, what's the dirtiest
That
thing?
was me. That was him.
What's the dirtiest thing you got paid to do? Please
Hey,
say.
whore.
Hey, whore. You don't know me.
I sincerely apologize, Shelley.
That's okay. Hey, it made me laugh. Trust me. I did not know which way to look because every time I'd go to ask a question and I direct my attention one way because I would think, okay, they're probably going to be the one that'll answer this because you were getting this. The other one of y'all says, oh, well, I guess I better turn around over here. And I'd turn around and you'd be like, hey, sexy. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you were catching hell from both sides.
And if you ever doubt it, whenever we do these Estes methods, you never know what questions you're going to ask. And they definitely, with some of the crap I come up with to ask, they never know what I'm asking.
Mhm.
And I started off asking for the brothel ladies right off the bat. I didn't want to talk to the guys. I want to talk to the brothel ladies. And normally I get the deacon coming through. Normally I get the guys. But for whatever reason, I want to talk to the girls. And immediately they were obliging. Now, here came in the guys but they never know. We never know what anyone's going to ask. And you try to follow the conversation. And however the conversation goes is the way you determine what your line of questioning is going to be. And I'm telling you, when it went dirty, I'm like, screw it. Let's roll with it. Let's see what happens. And they did not disappoint me.
No, not at all. And so then they decided to wrap it up with two last ones in this little section. So
I think it was a guy, but he just goes, fucking bitch.
You know me.
Hardin, is that you? Shelley.
See, I told you it was me.
but wait,
There's more.
Who was the one that you didn't like to see walk in the room? He opened up the door and your skin crawled. What's his name? What's his name, ladies? He smelled bad. He had bad breath. Hadn't shaved his back. Come on. What was his name?
Damn.
What was his name, ladies? Give me his name.
Again, fucking bitch.
I think I was talking to the no back shaving dude who had the bad breath
Yeah,
that smelled like
probably,
ass. Yeah.
probably, yeah,
Yeah.
probably were. But yeah, so that's the library, folks.
That room's a doozy, man.
That by far was probably the most fun Estes method that
Oh
I
my
have
God.
ever been part of. And like I said, if you think that every time you go in somewhere that they're going to be like, we're going to kill you. No, not always.
No.
Sometimes they just.
I'm literally crying over.
I know.
everything.
I've been wiping my eyes. I'm like going, this is like that was pretty much the beginning of the investigations. Well,
Yeah.
there was a little bit
Yeah.
before that, but yeah, there's one little thing that happened down in Henry's workshop while I was still in costume that we're going to get to.
Yep, which is actually where we're headed next.
Hot
So,
dog.
let's continue our little journey and throw up the remainder of the hallway. Now we're going to take you on back to Henry's workshop.
Henry's one of my favorites.
But before I get there, I have a little bit of photo evidence for you two. And honestly, I don't think y'all have seen these photos because I didn't get a chance to send them to you.
Oh, hot dog.
What you got?
So, basically, that picture that I just put up, I took another photo. I took a few in a row. So there's that photo. Okay, just looking down at Henry's workshop. Henry's workshop's down there on the left, right next to that little table on the left. I took the next one right behind it, and y'all tell me what y'all think this looks like.
Oh, you have a light anomaly right in the middle of the room.
Yeah. Yeah, like right dead center in front of that door.
Yep. And to me, it looks like a leg, in my opinion, because I can see it curving down at the bottom where there would be a heel for a shoe, just a little bit. So I don't know if it's the beginning of a manifestation or just a light anomaly of a spirit maybe passing through or something like that. But I took 5 or 6 photos from this angle, and this was the only one that it appeared in. So it's very interesting.
And that's right in front of Henry's door.
That is right in front of Henry's door. If you go just to the left, right where that paint can is, you're going to be hitting the door frame of Henry's
workshop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. Just wanted to
That's really neat, man.
throw that up for y'all while we're here. So now, speaking of Henry's workshop,
Love Henry.
Shelley, this is your portion, sweetheart. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what happened to you in Henry's workshop?
Oh my goodness, which time? So Henry had a lot of daughters, and Henry very much does not like women in his workshop. And what does that mean for me? That means I'm going in to say hey to Henry right off the bat. I'm like, hi, honey, I'm back. Hi, Henry. And I love Henry. Henry doesn't always like me, though. I had been, I'm going to tell first about the incident that happened to me, so you can have that picture ready. I was in Henry's workshop and my back started burning. And it was burning really, really badly. And there were a couple of people that were in there with me. And of course, I'm just like, hey, can you take a look at my back? My back really hurts. And one of the girls that was with me just, she knew me. She just hauled down the back of my shirt. She's like, you got scratched. Not only did I get scratched, I got scratched in the shape of a pentagram between my shoulder blades. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can definitely clearly see that line across the middle. So I'm like, take a picture. Can you film that, please? Can you take a picture? And that's actually a still from it filming. It continued to welt up. And I went in and I showed Connie. Connie was there. And whenever Connie saw it, she said, Shelley, you didn't get scratched. She goes, you got branded. She said, that is a raised welt and it's red all the way around it. And by the way, it was hot in there, but I have chill bumps all over my back. You can see that the back of my hair is sweaty. It was so hot. But my whole back has got chill bumps all over it, and my skin was burning. Of course, when my son looked at this picture, he goes, but Mom, it's right side up. That's protection. I'm like, honey, I don't need protection like that. Just leave me alone. I'll be fine. But I literally was marked in Henry's workshop.
Wow.
And that was after I was kind of aggravating him. I'm like, Henry, I'm not going to leave till you let me take a picture of you. You might as well step out. Come on out. Let me take a picture of you. I was standing in the same spot that I was standing when the second thing happened to me. Down there in our little cute costumes. And we're standing back there. I had to go down and say, I want to show Henry my little get up. So I went down there and I'm standing and I go to the same corner. That far corner, you can see it. That's the corner I was standing in at the back. And it felt like somebody's hand went up the back of my skirt. And y'all, they can tell you, guys, do I jump or do I run?
No, I've never seen you jump that damn high. And
I haven't either. I have never.
I came out of that corner. I'm like,
yeah, you did.
Holy hell. I'm like, get off me. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
I think she hit a button. I think she hit a button.
Yeah, she accidentally knocked herself out.
Shelley getting so excited. She accidentally knocked herself. But yes, to kind of pick up from there.
Yeah.
I mean, she came across like, and oh, here she is.
And I'm back.
I think you hit a button and knocked yourself out, girl.
I did. Technology and me don't get along. But yeah, I came out of that corner. Something put their hand up the back of my skirt and was like pulling it up. My skirt came up. And I was like, whoa, hey now. That cost you $10.
See, you came out of that corner. I was standing by that that
I
push
almost ran you over.
You almost ran me over.
You jumped about 10 feet high, and your hair was in curls, but I think all those curls went straight as soon as you jumped.
And I don't usually jump because I've been touched before, and usually I'll just kind of make a motion.
Yeah.
But whenever you feel something going up the back of your skirt and you know there's nobody behind you but a paint can, that'll make you move. So yeah, so that's Henry's workshop. But I don't. In all fairness, not to disparage Henry, I don't think it was Henry that did that. I think it was somebody who resides upstairs, and we'll get to him later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, funny you say that because that's actually where we're heading.
Hot dog. Let's go upstairs.
I was gonna
Well,
say-
Blake, before we go, didn't you
Yeah.
have an experience in Henry's workshop on
Oh, that's right. I totally did. I totally forgot.
Mhm.
So actually, about the time that they said that the other person was in the psychomanium labeling off investigators' names, they got to me and they said, "Go get him." Ryan comes walking down there right before Ryan. You came down that hallway. I am leaned up, and let me see if I have. Let me get that picture again, and I will show you where I was leaned up actually at. So there's one picture looking the opposite direction. I am standing in the doorway of Henry's workshop, basically. So you have Henry's workshop up there on the left, and I am standing looking back the opposite direction. So I am leaned up right on that door frame. And I'm just sitting there and I'm snapping pictures of the inside of Henry's workshop. And two other people that were with us, I told them one at a time. I said, "Why don't you go walk up in there?" One of them was a woman. I told her, I said, "You go walk up in there and I'll continue to take pictures." Kept taking pictures. The other one was starting to film. I said, "You know what?" And he was a guy. I said, "Why don't you go walk up in there?" And they both started walking in there and I kept snapping pictures. And I heard two tiny footsteps behind me. Just like that was about it. Just two. And it felt literally, y'all, like somebody was about that far off my back and his head was right here. Like he was looking at what we were doing. Y'all, I jumped back so far. I damn near knocked the table over at the end of the hallway. And I just went, "What the fuck?" And I immediately started snapping these pictures and other pictures. I didn't catch anything in them. But y'all, it's been a minute since something's walked up behind me like that, and that about made me jump out my pants. So yeah, that's Henry's workshop area. It's a
and didn't you say it sounded like they were having trouble walking, like they were kind of like dragging their foot
a
little bit?
It did sound like there was a little bit of a shuffle to one of the steps, like it was a little bit of a drag. Now I don't know if the other two people heard it, and honestly, I was a little bit freaked out at that point. And Ryan, you were coming to get me, so I didn't really stop in the moment and go, "Did y'all hear that?" So I never really got their answers, but yeah, definitely, yeah, that was.
Well, and one of the funny stories about Henry is that Henry, like I said, he had daughters, and so he definitely did not like females in that workshop. But also, Henry suffered in the later years of his life from dementia, to the point where, if you'll notice on some of those pictures, there aren't doors on any of those lower rooms, or if there are, there's maybe one or two, because Henry, in the later stages of his dementia, took the doors off and started selling them. Don't know why, just that was what he thought he needed to do. And so maybe with the onset of the dementia and that could have affected his walking pattern or something like that. But yeah, I love Henry. He's one of my favorites there.
That area down there unsettles me so much, but I love to go down there. I don't know why. I'm so unsettled by that area. I am. Yeah. I'm so unsettled by it, but I just love to go wander down there.
And one of these days, I'm going to catch a picture of Henry. I'm going to catch a picture of him. Yeah. He won't be able to evade me for long.
So that concludes downstairs. Just the downstairs.
That's just the downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we move upstairs. And so we come to the top of the staircase to the upstairs hallway. Mm-hmm. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on this upstairs hallway just real quick before we start getting into all of these rooms. Now, these upstairs hallways, this again is the finished portion on this side. And there was actually a lot of stuff happening in these hallways. Yeah. One of the people that was with us who I like to call him a skeptical believer. It's out there, but hadn't had a really profound experience. He starts shooting a bunch of different pictures down that hallway, same place almost where I had taken that one. And unbeknownst to him, I was looking through his pictures. This is where he's shooting down. That's the unfinished portion of the hallway. He captures, boop.
Little light anomaly right up there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Little light anomaly right up at the top.
I see that.
Yeah. Very interesting. Now,
yeah,
in the same door frame, this freaked me out whenever I saw this. I'm standing in the room that I was staying in, and I'm just snapping left and right. I think I probably took 30 photos of this area right here. Mm-hmm. And this is the area I was shooting. Matter of fact, that picture that I had just put up, this is my picture. This is where I was shooting from. But I'd gone in and I had zoomed in on this. Now, there's your door frame. Right there. Mm-hmm. That's the transition again to the unfinished portion. I'm just going to remain silent for just 1 second.
There's a light anomaly that goes all the way across the bottom of the hallway.
I see that. Yeah, right across the bottom of that hallway right there.
Now, there's a light anomaly, but go up the right door frame.
You have something black up there in that top corner.
There's a gentleman peeking around the door frame. That's what I see.
Oh, if you look
Holy
right above
crap.
it, yeah, it looks like a head is peeking out on the right-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
You go to that second straight pillar of light, and yeah, there it looks like someone looking out. That's the deacon. I don't know if it is or not. I hope it is.
But you can see the darker portion up top, which would be his hair. The lighter portion coming down, which is his face. You can see his nose protruding just a little bit, and then it draws back into his lips. And he's it's like he's
kind of like in profile.
It's kind of like he's like, kind of like that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, a light anomaly in the middle of the door frame, and only in the middle of the door frame.
Yeah.
And
that's
somebody
weird.
peeking around the corner because it ain't there.
Crap.
It's not there in that one, but
And
it
then
is
it
in that
is.
one. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good catch.
That's
I was
Wow.
shocked. I was shocked about that. So
Now, and you that's where the deacon likes to hang out, is what you said, Shelley, right?
That's where my buddy is.
So we keep talking about the deacon, and to explain who the deacon is, he was actually a Old West outlaw. His name was Jim Deacon Miller, and he was known to frequent the brothel in Ballinger, and he was called the deacon because he liked to present himself as a pious man, although he was a bloodthirsty lawman at one point, and then just became a flat out outlaw and a killer for hire. So he's known to roam around there.
Oh, but my favorite story about Deacon is whenever they were going to hang him. Tell it, Ryan.
Okay, so he gets caught, and I believe it was in Ada, Oklahoma, because he got contracted out by a bunch of cattlemen to kill a ranch owner in the area. And so he gets arrested for doing it, and he had beaten every conviction he'd ever gotten. He would go to court, and he would always get on some kind of technicality. Nothing would stick. So he was pretty confident in the fact that he was going to get off on this. Well, what he wasn't expecting was a mob showed up to the jail, grabbed him and all the people out of the cells, and took him to a barn and made him stand on a stool. And they hung the 3 other people that was with him. But before they could hang him, he said, "Let her rip." And like literally his last words were, "Let her rip," and kicked his own stool out from underneath himself and hung himself before they could get around to hanging him.
He gave him the double birds. It was like, you ain't killing me, I'll kill myself. That's why I like him.
Yeah, but people have claimed to have run directly into him in Old Park, and that's who we think that is. And he responds to Deacon. So,
and someone that claims to have run right into him and has photographic evidence of it is me.
Yep.
I took 23 pictures down a hallway. I was just standing there. The only other person that was in was at the far end of the hall behind me, and I was taking pictures down the hall, and in number 19, this thing comes up in my face and it's gone just that fast. And I saw it with my own eyes. And the person who was at the other end of the hall goes, "Did you see that?" I'm like, "Hang on, got to take a few more pictures. Hang on." I didn't run. I didn't flinch. I just kept snapping. Go down and I start looking. And in this picture, I look at it and I'm like, holy crap, I'm in the middle of a gunfight. You see this person in the center, he has a gun, but if you look at the shadow on the wall, that one has a rifle. And the guy, Deacon was supposedly wore this long overcoat all the time. And whoever's right in front of me, you can even see the tops of his shoes have something shiny on them. He's in an overcoat and he has a pistol, and he's got on some kind of like little rough thing around his neck. He's quite fancy and again, quite handsome. But in that moment, I really think that because I didn't see what was on the wall. I saw him come right up in my face. And we were talking about this last night, that I think that he stepped out because whatever was on that wall had to have come up from behind me, but there was no light on. It was a pitch black in that hallway. And I think he stepped out to protect me. And I believe that Dan had said to me, "You remind Deacon of somebody." And Deacon did have a girl here. Deacon's always nice to me. And I really think Deacon was jumping out to get whoever this little hoodlum was over here, sneaking up on my 6. Deacon had my 6. So that's why Deacon's my favorite.
I'm like, and to reiterate for those who aren't catching on, there's nobody in that hallway but
There's
Shelley.
nobody in that hallway but me. There's nobody in that hallway but me. The closest person to me was standing up at the unfinished portion.
And you can see, I mean, like you said, you can see the deep, like little like tops of the shoes, whatever that is. You can see the 6-shooter in the one guy's hand, and on the wall, it looks like someone's leveling a shotgun to shoot at the person that has a 6-shooter.
And what's compelling to me is that the shotgun, if you notice, it breaks the door frame. It actually extends past the door frame. Mm-hmm. And that to me was just as compelling, because if it was truly like a light bounce, it wouldn't have continued into the brighter part right there. And so this is actually the evidence that was featured whenever they did Old Park Hotel on Fright Club. And this is the evidence of mine that they showed to showcase the Old Park Hotel in Ballinger. So there you go.
Pretty damn cool. That's my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Freaking photo of that whole place.
It's my favorite photo.
That is such a cool photo.
Yeah.
And I took it down to show Dan, and Dan's like, "Where'd you catch that?" I go, "Upstairs. I think that's Deacon." He's like, "Yeah, I think that's Deacon." And I was like, I got to see Deacon. So me and Deacon been buddies ever since. So
So I went down that portion of the unfinished hallway upstairs, and I just kind of thought to myself, well, actually, Ryan, me, you, Rhonda, Kevin, we all went down there towards the end, and we were all leaned up against the walls, and you and Kev kept saying that y'all kept seeing things run across.
Yeah, something just kept going back and forth across the end of that hallway down there. One time it was white that I saw. Another time it just looked like movement. And I believe you, Blake, saw 2 red light anomalies with your own eyes at 2 different times.
I did. I saw.
The hallway.
Let me pull the what I'm talking about. So this is where we're talking about. We're actually standing relatively close. Maybe one more door frame up where Shelly caught that picture. And we're looking at the end of the hallway. Now, at the end of the hallway is this chair. That's what's at the end of the hallway that sits out there. And so we are staring down this, and Ryan and Kev are seeing things go back. And in the far back right corner, I see just these 2 glowing dots. They just flashed up real quick, and they went away. That was it. They didn't move. They just whoop, whoop. That was it. So I started taking pictures, thinking in my head, oh, shit, well, this is where the shadow figure was caught. So let me just start snapping some pictures, and let's see if we can't recreate this. It didn't quite get what you got, Shelly, but I want you to take a look at this. So I snapped this. This is the comparison photo. Okay, this is the first one. Okay. And then I snapped this.
Whoa.
You see the difference there's a mist.
Uh-huh.
Now, I was told by Dan that people will see throughout the night a mist forming down at the end of the hallway. Now, there's the comparison one again. There's the mist forming.
One more time.
Yep. Nothing.
Yeah, that mist is actually about, it's human height if it's compared to that door frame where it's coming out.
Yeah. Wow. So, anyways, I just thought that was interesting. We didn't recreate the shadow figure. Or the gunslinger.
He doesn't like, I call him my gunslinger picture, but I think it's the Deacon. But yeah, he wouldn't come out for you.
No.
He likes girls.
I'm not pretty enough.
Yes, you are.
I was going to say, though, man, we were standing in that hallway, I know, for a good 30 minutes, just and look at the very end, you could just see whatever was moving back and forth. It kept going back and forth on the end of that hallway.
Well, and I believe that right there, that mist, I believe that was what was going back and forth because, again, not there. So, yeah.
And that's when we started asking questions, too, right? About, like, if it was we were getting the knocks on the wall.
Yes, we were. We were actually getting knocks on the wall. But before we go into that, Stacey actually said she has a picture of a man standing there where the mist was at.
Oh, wow.
So,
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. But yes, we were standing in that hallway. We were trying to figure out exactly what was, and we were seeing and all that stuff. So we did start asking questions. Oh, hold on. Somebody said there's a face above the mist. Hold on. Live evidence review.
I wish you could zoom that thing in just a little bit for me.
I know. I wish I could too.
You know what? You should send it to us. Send us the 2 photos, and let's look at it after. And if we see the same thing, then you can post it up on Everything Vaguely Paranormal. Let's all take a look at it and see if
that'll work.
Okay. Did they say specifically where they're seeing the face? Did it say above the mist, so it's going to be on the left-hand side? Is that what we're looking at, or are we looking on the right?
There's a face right above your mist. That's what they said. Hold on, wait. It's in that black spot above the mist. I'm gonna. Yeah, I
Okay.
can't.
I'm
Too
gonna have
little.
to-
Too little. We're gonna have to
I'll
look
zoom
at it
in.
afterwards, and if we see it and it's compelling, then we'll yeah, definitely we'll
Mhm.
post it back up, along with
Mhm.
your melting face, Shelly. Be like, is this the face you see? Shelly's melting face.
Oh my goodness, it
But
was quite
anyways.
scary.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine if my face started melting. I'd either think it was something paranormal or I was having a stroke. One of the two.
Well,
Either way.
Child, at that point, I had taken off my makeup, so I wasn't sure if it was just no makeup or if, I didn't know what it was.
Oh man, now they're coming back saying right beside the door, on the right by the curtain. Hold on.
Okay, let's go back again. Right beside the door, on the right by the curtain.
On the right by the curtain.
I
I have to full screen our session and see. Okay, on the
right
Yeah.
side by the door. Are you talking above that white dot that's there? That white little
I think I see maybe what they're talking about. Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
have to
okay,
we're
we'll
gonna
look
see if we
at that.
can lighten it some more or something
Mhm.
like that, just to see if maybe we can't get it really up there. Okay, let me get this taken down real quick. So but yes, continuing what Ryan was saying was yes, we were standing in that hallway and we decided to start asking questions. And Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell that portion about kind of what we had figured out?
Yeah, so we were asking questions about like who was there. We were asking if it was like working girls, and we were getting like loud bangs, but we were also getting like knocks on the wall. And after about the third or fourth time, they were like really loud and kind of metallic sounding bangs, and I was like, that just don't make any sense. And then I remembered there's a Mexican restaurant right next door, and about that time is when they were closing, so they were throwing stuff in the dumpster and slamming the dumpster. But at the same time, we were also getting knocks inside the building on the wall. You could definitely hear it. You could differentiate the two types of knocks.
Absolutely.
So at first I was like, man, something is beating the absolute shit out of that wall. And there was like, oh wait, there's a Mexican restaurant next door.
We were talking to the dumpster. Because it was just funny because you're taking out your trash at the end of the restaurant work day, whatever. We were like, if you're a female, make 2 knocks or something. And then we heard boom, boom, and then I got to thinking, that's probably trash bags hitting the bottom of the dumpster.
And in all fairness, you guys did go out and look, and
Yeah.
you did debunk that. So we actually do try to
Absolutely.
debunk if we try to make sure that it's legitimate.
Yeah.
And I'm glad y'all did it, because I wouldn't go walk around the back of that building. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Well, and that's you have to do that whenever you're investigating. You always have you have to rule out every other possibility before you can say this is something that is not here. This is something that's paranormal, because I mean sometimes it is just a dumpster banging, or it's a draft going through a room when you close the door, or a draft going through a room when you close the door, or
is that the new sexual move, Ryan? The dumpster banging?
bang?
Dumpster bang. There we go. That's hilarious.
Only thing got money for a hotel room.
We already had our room paid for. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I guess since we went to the end of the hall, do you want to work our way back and tell the stories that way, or do you want to jump back to the beginning of the hall and work our way back?
Well, now
again?
there's still a room we haven't talked about, which is the room with the chair, the single chair,
Yeah.
and that is at the very end of the hallway.
And that room gives me.
Now, there was something interesting that happened. So in this room's a single chair. Now, Dan and Connie have told us that they think that there's a male that's back there.
Mhm.
And while I don't disagree with that, I've gone back there and done a spirit box session, and I got the name Charlotte that came through very clearly on the spirit box. Now, when we were walking around, and we took Ryan in there, and we took one of our other guests in there, and whenever I immediately walked in, I messed up and I touched that chair, and I looked at Ryan and went, oh my God, my head just started hurting. Who else had that happen to them? I believe Rhonda did whenever she walked in.
It was yes, she went in and she I told them, I said they don't particularly like people in this chair. And I sat down in it and nothing, really happened, whatever. It's just a single chair in a room. Just sat down in it and asked a couple of questions, told them to give me a knock. Now I will tell you, there was me, Rhonda, Kev, and I believe Tim was back there as well at this point. And I did said, if you don't want me in your chair, I need a double tap. That's what I need. And all of us heard probably within 5 seconds like that.
Oh wow.
on the wall. So I got up and Rhonda, she was like, I'll sit down, whatever. She sat down and she was in there maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds. She got up. All of a sudden, she just started getting hot, sweaty, and she just looked at me with like a little bit of panic, was like, I've got to get out of here. I got to leave. And I said, why? And she goes, I think I might be sick. And I was like, okay, let's go. I had to walk her all the way out, down the stairs, out the building, across the street to grass on the other side to get her off the property for everything to calm down.
Wow.
So I don't know what it is about that chair.
And you know, too, when Shelley was talking about getting her headache, because me, Shelley, and another investigator had walked in it. That was the first place we went when we got inside. We went up the stairs and walked into the hall, and that's when Shelley got her head started hurting. But like my head it didn't start hurting, but it started swimming. You know, like, you know how you feel like when you have like allergies or you have a bad cold where you feel like you're kind of floating a little bit?
Yeah.
Like mine felt that way. And then the other investigator said his head was feeling the same way. So there's definitely something going on in that back room back there for sure.
Absolutely. Now, in between there, I think I'm getting my rooms mixed up. There is a bathroom there. Doesn't that one connect with the other room? That makes
it connects with the room that when you and I and Paula were in there, it connects with, no, excuse me. No, that is the correct room. I'm trying to go backwards now instead of forward.
I know. That's me. I'm trying to work backwards as well.
But
it connects with this room.
Yeah, that room. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's the one that when we went in and because that's a room I normally feel comfortable in. I normally have no problem that I don't like that room, but for some reason I'm drawn into that room. And most people don't even bother to investigate it because, you know, it's not all done up like the rest of the rooms are. And it doesn't have anything special in it. It's got a bed. Okay. But there's one place I always go and sit in that room. And I go and sit down in this one spot in that back corner right there. That's where I like to sit. Now, when it was you and me and Paula, Blake, when we were in there, you want to tell them what happened to you?
Yep. So we crossed through the bathroom, went into this room, and I immediately walked over to where the bed is at. Stood right about the middle of the bed. Paula rested on the door frame of the bathroom, and Shelley went and sat in her corner. And we started running the spirit box session. We don't have that spirit box session on video, but we do have another one that is on our YouTube channel as of 8:00 tonight. So you can go and watch that we did in this room. But all of a sudden it said jailer, and we call Paula Police Paula, she's a police officer. So, and all of a sudden she felt something go down her back and shove her. And she came,
wow.
Yes, she came off that door frame. And about that time, I felt like something just grabbed my stomach and just twisted, and I felt like I was about to hurl all over that room. I mean, to the point I immediately went 90 degrees, holding my stomach. I was like, oh my God. And Shelley's like, what? I was like, I think I'm going to be sick. This hurts.
Doubled over and had to sit down on that bed. He doubled over, and I'd never seen Blake do that before. Mm-mm. And usually it's me that gets sick. Blake was getting sick, and I'd never seen him get affected like that.
I've never had that happen other than at Old Park in that room.
Did it just feel like you just started getting nauseous, or you felt like something physically like twisted your guts?
It was a little bit of both, because I felt like a very sharp pain kind of around and up and under my ribs, but I also felt like I was just about to everywhere. And
spew chunks.
Yes, just spew chunks. That's why I just bent over and I was just holding my stomach, and I just turned sideways and sat down on that bed. And of course, Shelley, as I'm like, oh God, she's like, I wouldn't sit on that bed.
I'm like, don't sit on the bed.
I'm like, I don't care. Oh, I don't care.
I'm like, don't sit on that bed. I'm like, I don't know why I'm telling you don't sit on the bed, but don't sit on that bed.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't sit on the bed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, she don't want you on that bed, and it's a she, because I don't know, for whatever reason in that particular room, I'm always very comfortable. I usually don't have a problem at all, but I always sit in the same spot, because it's kind of like, I think whoever's in there is like, yeah, watch this, watch what I can do. I think they're trying to amuse me. It's like, watch what I can do. Stay right here. I'm going to show you. You watch. But when we sat in there earlier in the evening, Rhonda and I both went and sat in that same area, and both of us suddenly, we both started sweating. And it was like, oh my God. And we both got too hot, and we both got up at the same time and went out. And I think whoever was in there was not happy there were that many people in there. So I think, did we have 5 or 6 people in there? It was too many.
When we did the spirit box session? Or just in that moment with you and
in that moment, it was Rhonda and I sitting in that corner, and I believe you were in there, and Ryan was in there, and
Paula
and Tim. Yeah, I think,
Mhm.
but
and
for some
Kev,
reason,
I think
and
the only
Kev,
one that
yeah,
wasn't in there was
was
John.
John.
He was
And-
outside down the hall.
But for some reason, if you get a whole lot of people in that room, it rebels, and I don't know, but yeah. That one's interesting. I just caution you, that one doesn't like anyone who has anything to do with law enforcement, military, anything like that. They do not like them in that room. And
No position of authority whatsoever.
Yeah.
that's a good way to put it. No one in a position of authority. See, they know nobody listens to me like that. She's fine. Let her sit there, you know.
So one room back, coming back down that hallway, you have what I call the white dress room. You know, it's just a simple room with a mannequin that has a white dress on it. It's very interesting. I have actually never had anything happen in here to me. I've walked in there multiple times through both investigations we've done, and I don't know if it's just a quiet room, a peaceful room or something, but me personally, never had an experience in that room.
It seems relatively calm. It doesn't feel like there's much going on. I mean, there could be something going on there that we don't know about, but
or that we haven't tapped into. Something
maybe
like
we haven't
that.
figured out how to communicate with it, because I do believe that pretty much every one of those rooms has its own occupant.
There's something going on,
Absolutely.
Because you notice, if we were getting some activity in one room, we'd hear something down the hall, kind of like, "Hey, you haven't come down here yet. You come here. I can do things too."
Yeah.
And a lot of times, sometimes, I felt like every time we had something really good going in one room, somebody'd be like, "Oh my God, I just came from over there. You're not going to believe what's happening over here." And we would get pulled. And it seemed like we were being pulled from room to room to room all night. And I think whatever's in that room kind of prefers to be left alone. It doesn't really want you to come in there. And I've sat in there a couple of times, but that's not a room they communicate with me in. So I like that hallway. Come on, Deacon.
Yeah.
Hey, Shelly.
But across from there is, as Shelly has termed it, what's the room's name?
Jimmy the Weasel's room.
Jimmy the Weasel.
Jimmy the Weasel.
And why is it Jimmy the Weasel's room, Shelly?
Because Jimmy's a damn weasel, and he's an a-hole. And I was in there with another investigator, another female, and we were kind of cutting up because we'd been in there, we hadn't really had anything happen, and I'm like, you know what? I said, let's just lay down on this bed. So she and I laid down, and with our feet off the edge right there, and just kind of laid back on the bed, and we're like, okay. And all of a sudden she's doing this. I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, and she does this. And about the time that she reaches for her throat, I try to sit up, and I feel something do this to me. And I went, oh no. And I start to sit up. And when I do, I see her grab her side. And at the same time, I grab my side. We grabbed the exact same side. It felt like someone just took a knife literally and went right up on the inside of her rib cage. And both of us were doubled over at the exact same time. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And then I got mad. Y'all see me when I get mad. I went screaming room to room. I'm like, you son of a... And I was like, I'm going to come find you. I'm like, bring your ass out here. I'm like, you come back. Don't you do that. And I'm telling you, that pain was real. And it hurt. And it hurt bad. And she was like, let's go downstairs. I don't want to be up here anymore. So I'm like, okay, let's go downstairs. And we went down and we told somebody was down there. And that happened to be his wife. And that made him so mad. He went up there and he started yelling, come on out. Don't touch the ladies. What are you doing? Don't come out. Well, Jimmy worked there. And allegedly, Jimmy was in on the conspiracy to murder someone, that he helped with the murder of one of the working girls. And so, again, he wasn't immune to any kind of nefarious goings on. So I think that that room, and that is one of the few rooms that I feel, other than Henry's workshop, because I don't think Henry meant to hurt me in his workshop. Again, like my son said, he thought that the scratch was right side up, so it was for protection. That's one of the few rooms I've actually been hurt. They hurt me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, me and Jimmy.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
Jimmy kissed my ass.
I got home on Sunday, and my roommate was asking me about, oh, how was it? What's going on? And one of the things he said is he was like, they can't hurt you, can they? They can't touch you, can they? And I was like, oh, but they can. You know.
My butt would tell you a different
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, they can push you, they can grab you, they can squeeze you, they can definitely touch you.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I just want to be like, no, not at all. They definitely can't. No,
Yeah, they can't touch you. They can't do nothing
Nope,
to you.
can't do anything at all. Nope.
I have, yeah, have to put your hand up through your skirt and put scratches on your back. Yeah, then they can't do crap to you.
So coming back down the hallway a little bit more next to Jimmy the Weasel's room, we have probably one of my favorite rooms because I'm just obsessed with these two. Anybody who's, I don't know, been alive in the last century has heard of these two. We have the Bonnie and Clyde room. And the reason why it's called Bonnie and Clyde room is because everything is decked out in Bonnie and Clyde, basically decorations.
Memorabilia.
Memorabilia. They have pictures of them. They actually have a transcription of Blanche Sparrow's diary that is hung on the wall there. And I love I don't know why I love the last little entry, but it just captures that moment in history where she's like, whatever the date is, it just says Bonnie and Clyde were killed. And I don't know, it's just kind of cool. There is a mannequin in there that every time I walk down that hallway and I glance in that room, it freaks me out because I always forget that it's there. And it's just she looks very flapperish, and stuff like that.
She looks like Bonnie Parker.
She does look like Bonnie Parker. And it just, every time I walk past there, I'm like, oh God, there's that mannequin. Now, again, another room I myself have not had a personal experience of. But we did have an investigator say that they attempted to sleep in that bed and in that room, started out in that bed and in that room. In other words, about 4 doors down from anybody else that was there with them.
In the unfinished upper part of the building.
Yep. And said that they heard footsteps with spurs and that they saw somebody peek into the room. And they said, oh, that's it. I'm done.
They said, I'd rather go sleep in the haunted doll room.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, haven't had a personal experience there. Shelley, anything? I mean,
not in that room, no. But again, I know my favorite rooms. I know the rooms I get activity in, and that's where I tend to go. Maybe we should give that room a chance next time. Maybe we should make a point, because I've always wanted to just sit on the staircase and investigate. And why I haven't done that, I don't know. I've been there 8 or 9 times, and I've always neglected that staircase. So we're gonna have to make a list. Staircase definitely, Bonnie and Clyde room definitely, and maybe that quiet room definitely. There could be something in there, just maybe hasn't had its turn.
I mean, and I'm a sucker for anything like Depression era gangster stuff or any Old West outlaw stuff. So, I mean, I want to go in there and see if I can't get a hold of Bonnie Parker, maybe.
You very well might do it.
Well, and it's rumored that they stayed there because Bonnie was born in Rowena, which is about 8 miles. Isn't that right?
8 to 10 miles down the
8 to 10
road
miles
from
down the
Ballinger.
road from Ballinger. So when they'd come back to visit her mom, it's rumored that they had stayed there. And I believe, I've heard a story, that somebody had caught Bonnie's name being said.
We caught Bonnie's name.
We did. We caught
we did too,
Bonnie,
though.
Yeah.
We did too.
We did too. Now that is actually on the full unedited video of the one that we just watched.
Yeah, go and watch that on our.
It's also on our
you
YouTube
should watch
channel.
it all. We didn't want to play it all, but y'all.
No, we by the way, we released 5 videos today, fully raw, unedited, on our YouTube channel that are all have to do with Old Park, and we have 3 more coming. That is how much activity runs rampant in this hotel. We didn't have enough time to upload them all today. But anyways, across from Bonnie and Clyde's room is
oh God,
this room. This room that makes me
that room gives me the willies.
I don't like dolls, and I don't like rooms with nothing but dolls, and I don't like kids' rooms with dolls, and I don't like haunted rooms with haunted dolls and kids haunting. Yeah, I just don't like it.
Don't like that room.
Yeah.
Don't like that room at all. That is the kids' toy room. And there have been, I've heard stories of the toy cars on the floor moving. I don't like that asshole. That is the ventriloquist doll, and I hate that thing because it does not matter where you stand in that room. It looks like that dude is looking at you. You can't escape his eyes.
Yeah. This was captured by Tim, who was along with us. Tim was a professional photographer and agent, and he ended up snapping a few pictures for us, which Thank you so much.
Yes,
Tim.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
You did some
absolutely.
amazing stuff.
The ones that you have sent us are just absolutely amazing so
fantastic.
far.
Whoa.
But the one that I want to talk about that he did send that is creepy. Now, before I show this, take this one down so you can see all three of our faces. Now, before I show this, now Tim is using a very, very expensive camera, a thousands of dollar camera.
Oh yes.
And a mount. I don't remember what he called it, but anyways, I'm not a photographer either. But a mount to hold the camera still so he can shutter and take pictures and all of that stuff. And he starts snapping pictures of all these dolls. And he sent me this one, which was, I don't know, it's just weird.
Weird.
So it's on a mount. It's not going to
Yeah.
be moving.
No,
Correct.
there's no reason for it. Yeah, I mean, because it was perfectly still, and when he took that picture, he took a couple pictures, and he was talking to me about it. He was like, I've been taking pictures for 30 plus years, and I don't understand why it's doing this.
Well, and if you looked at the doll on the left is perfectly in focus with no issues, and then the doll in the center looks like it's got something coming out of it, child. She looks like she's wild. And then there's this mist kind of thing around the doll on the right. That's odd.
Yeah.
And he showed me too on his camera because there's like a thing on his camera where he can show you like shutter speed and and how fast he's taking the picture. And he's like, look, he's like, I didn't change in between these pictures. And he showed me like several different pictures, and it was the same shutter speed. It was the same like exposure, everything. And it just, some of them came out like this, and he just couldn't. He was like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I can't explain it either. Like I've never seen something like that where somebody's taken the multiple pictures in a row, and then you have one that comes out like this, especially with such a high-powered and professional camera.
And if he would have moved, they would have all had a blur to them.
Right.
That's what's compelling is that one is in focus. But then that one at the middle looks all kinds of crazy. And then that third one is 50% in focus, but it looks like it's got something around it. So that doesn't make any sense to me. That's interesting. I'd like to play with that picture just a little bit to see what we could pull out of it.
Yep. And I think Dan commented and said that he says, looks like half a kid's head behind the third doll. And I can see what he's talking about.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Oh, wow.
Now
that's creepy.
We'll have to get with Tim. Yeah, I see it. You can see the ear. You can see the hairline.
Yeah, it looks almost like a baby, like maybe like a two, maybe 1 year old, like a baby that's like sitting up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Good
if
catch,
there's
Dan.
Yeah, good catch. We'll have to see if there's a comparison shot that Tim took with same camera, same place,
and see if that's back and behind it,
and see if that's back and behind it. So another one. Is anybody taking notes on all the stuff we gotta post up later on? Good job, Shelly. Good job. We can always count on you.
Yeah.
Still trapped right here.
Handy dandy notebook.
I'm writing it down as we speak.
I don't know about a still trap, Brian, but
just let him have it.
Okay. Iron trap. We'll go. We'll go with that.
Okay, so the kid in between Bonnie and Clyde room, excuse me, in between Bonnie and Clyde room and the kids' room, they have this. I am trying to find the daggone picture. I don't know where I did with it. Hold on one second. They have a ball that is set in a square
in the middle of the hallway.
In the middle of the hallway, and I'd be damned if I don't know what
it was in the intro. They saw it in the intro.
Yeah,
they have a square that they put duct tape on the floor to make the square, and this ball, it's not fully inflated, so it's not like it's just going to randomly roll. It's kind of a little bit flat, which that's a good thing. That means if you just kind of walk by it, it's not going to go anywhere. But you put this ball in the square. Now, John and I had been down in the hallway earlier, and I'd put the ball in the square. There it is.
There we go.
And we had started to walk away, and John turns around. He's like, "Did you move that ball?" I'm like, "No, I put it in the square." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Yes, I moved it. I put it in the square." He goes, "No, it's not in the square." I turned around. It wasn't in the square. So I went back and I put it back in the square, and we start to walk off again. And we get halfway up, and we look back, and the ball has moved again. We did not see it move. We did not capture it moving. but it was out of that square. So we went back and put it back. And then we stood there and watched. You know, of course, nothing happened when we were looking at it. But but you guys had an experience with the ball as well.
We did. Now, Ryan, did you though?
Well,
Did you?
we thought we did at first because me and I believe Rhonda and Kevin were kind of all looking at the ball and we were like, it looks like it's moving. But I think we kind of figured out that it was just like it looked like because it didn't move out of the square. It just looked like it was kind of moving around a little bit, and we figured out it was probably just our eyes adjusting on like the way the light was hitting the ball. But I believe someone else had a pretty profound experience with that ball, though, right?
I know that Tim and Rhonda did the following morning. Now, that ball sat in that square, other than the times that Shelly, you, and John saw it moving, and the time that Ryan, Kev, Rhonda all thought they saw it moving. That ball sat in that square all night long.
Did not move.
Didn't move till the following morning. Rhonda and Tim go walking down the upstairs hallway, and all of a sudden, and they walked past it. They were trying to debunk it as I walked up. Well, I was trying to get the video from Rhonda that shows the actual ball moving. She has it, and when we can get it, we'll post that up as well. So, Shelly, take notes.
I have.
Write it
What am I,
down.
your damn secretary? God, sure. Let the one with the tits take the notes. I get it. Okay. Yes, sir. What else can I do for you, sir?
But anyways, I did happen to walk up on the tail end of that. Now, I did not see it. I immediately started recording. I didn't see it actually rolling, but I did see it outside the square, and this is what I caught from my camera.
We can't get it to stay in the same spot. I don't know. Now it's going to stay there.
Oh, that's weird.
We couldn't get it to stay there while ago for nothing.
Now you can see it rotate and settle into spot. Now what they were telling me is that it wasn't rolling towards the doors, on either side. It was rolling down the hall and back down the hall. So how it settles, how it rolls and settles the way it does from door to door, it wasn't rolling that way. It was rolling the other way.
Well, how many times is that it rolled up and down?
From what I know is that it rolled out of the square, further down the hallway, and then started to come back. They put it back, and then it went the other way. And they put it back. They could not keep it in the square. Now you saw in that video, them roll it over the square, and it settled in kind of a circle.
Yeah, and there's not a draft in that hallway at all.
No, there's not.
Yeah, and again, no central heat and air to click on and cause an airflow through there.
Tim said 3 times. They saw it move 3 times, or watched it roll 3 times, is what Tim says.
Wow.
Yeah. So as soon as Rhonda can send me the footage, we'll definitely get that posted up as well. So yeah, but there was so much to try and put into this episode. We couldn't get with everybody and go, we need some evidence, whatever you got. There was just too much of it. We were having an issue trying to
what was it, a 48-hour
night?
Yeah.
It was a quiet night at Ballinger.
That's a quiet night. And as Shelly just said, it was a 48-hour
evidence turnaround.
Yeah. So we were, But anyways, we come back. Shelly, if you want to continue the guided tour.
Let's see. Are we going back to the finished part? So as you're exiting the unfinished portion of the upstairs hallway, as you step out, now, which would you like to go right or to the left? Shall we talk to Jenny?
Let's talk to Jenny.
So, I don't know if y'all know this about me or not. I don't like dolls at all. At all. But one room is dedicated to a very specific doll. And I am always very nice to her. And her name is Jenny. And Dan will tell you the story about how he was given this doll, or he bought this doll. I'm not exactly sure how the doll came into his possession. I believe that he was given it. And he thought, they're making the joke about how the doll turns its head. He was just kind of making the joke about it. And then actually someone saw the doll turn its head slightly. And Jenny either has had a spirit talked into existence that is around her, or she actually has something that hangs out with her. Now, me, I'm always real nice to Jenny because that bitch looks like she will bite you in the middle of the night.
She probably would.
I am not kidding you. I always walk in, hey, beautiful, hi, sweetheart. Look, I brought you pennies. I'm trying to buy your love. Yeah. And that's another thing we'll talk about in a minute, the pennies.
Yeah.
So I always take Jenny pennies or candy, and I always leave her pennies. And just so you know, hey, we on good terms, right? Because she does look like she will bite you. Now, the weird thing is, if you sit and look at Jenny and you don't laugh because I bet she'd nibble on you. If you try to take Jenny's picture, you can take 10 pictures just right of Jenny. I always say, would you please smile? You can look at those photos, and if you watch that doll, it literally, and Ryan, you saw this, it looks like she's sitting here just, and then she'll go. And it's that subtle,
No joke.
but you can see it. And she will smile if you ask her to. Now, if she's irritated, it looks like her mouth purses down. Don't know what it is. And this doll, y'all, has got purple eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That alone in itself is freaky. So, yeah. But Jenny, if she decides she likes you, will communicate with you. Mr. Blake, do you happen to have that handy?
I actually don't.
You do not. That's okay. You're forgiven.
But it will
Tell
be
the story.
It is one that will be up on our YouTube channel later on. Of us, me and Shelly and Paula, all three of us walked into Jenny's room. Now Jenny is there on the dresser. You can see Jenny in the photo. Shelly takes the Paralight over, sets her just to the right of Jenny, right next to her. Me and Shelly sit on the end of the bed, and Paula stands in the doorway where I am standing.
To take that picture, this would be Paula's view of the room right here.
Yeah. And so I'm on the corner right there on the edge, and Shelly's on the foot. We're kind of 90-degreeing it with each other. Well, that sounds dirty too.
That sounds dirty.
Anyway, so we start asking Jenny all kinds of questions, and Jenny just starts. I mean, that Paralight, and y'all, a Paralight, for those who don't know, it is like an EMF reader, but it is super hard to set off.
It doesn't go off by accident.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost verifiably a spirit if it's going to go off. You know, I mean, that's how. I guess that's what I like about it.
It's difficult to make it react.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden we're asking these questions, and the Paralight starts spiking, and she starts giving us all these yes answers with all this stuff. Well, then all of a sudden it just goes quiet, and we keep asking questions, and nothing is happening. I mean, nothing. She's not even lighting it up once. And so Shelly goes, well, all right, I guess we'll go ahead and take the Paralight to the other room since you don't want to talk to us, and reaches up to grab it. And about the time she's a couple of inches away from that Paralight starts spiking again.
And goes to the top. So you can get it to make
top.
You can get it to make a few, but it goes all the way at the top, and it held, and then it dropped all the way down. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, I'm sorry, I'll back up. I didn't mean to upset you. Don't bite
she
me.
was not happy.
Don't bite me.
No, she was
we're
not.
friends. We'll let you play
She
with
was
it.
not. Yeah. So we continued to sit there and talk to Jenny for a little bit longer, and it went down again, and she was like, okay, well, we are going to take it this time. And she about getting out the bed starts spiking. She goes like, okay, no, we really do have to move on, you know, because I think we had talked to Jenny at that point for maybe about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, something like
but
that.
she was responding, and that light was going off.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll tell Dan and Connie to buy you one for Christmas. So Dan and Connie, you're on the hook for a Paralight. So just I already promised it to Jenny. Just tell her Santa Claus brought it. I don't know.
You volunteering them?
I did. So you know, Connie already knows where to get it. I already sent her the information. So Jenny really likes that Paralight though. So now on the flip side, we went back in the next morning and set that Paralight up.
Mm-hmm.
Jenny did not light it up one time. She
Nothing.
would not talk to us. And we sat in the exact same spots. We put the Paralight in the exact same place, and we asked very similar questions just to see. She wouldn't do anything. She was done talking to us. She was done. And when we went in this time, I believe, Ryan, it was you and I, and we went in there and we set up the Paralight. Jenny was being obstinate. She didn't want to talk. She's kind of sitting there like, nope.
Just didn't care to talk.
Did not want to talk. So
When we first got there, though, I remember you walked into the room and you said, hey, Jenny, how you doing? I brought you some pennies, and set a few pennies over by Jenny on her little dresser where she sits at. Now, later on that day and then the next morning, how many damn pennies did we find laying around?
I don't know. That became a very strange
Was it
thing.
7 or 6, Blake? I can't.
6.
6.
I remember 6. I remember that there was one in the library, and we have definitive proof that penny was not there
No.
the night before, and nobody would have gone and
We
placed it.
actually found 3 in the library.
That's true. We found
Oh,
Because
yeah,
I
on the
picked
floor.
up 2 off the floor, and then
Yep.
where was that third one?
It
Third
was
one was-
sitting on the sun on the Ouija board table in the library.
Yep.
The next
And-
morning.
And luckily, we have video that I was taking from my seat, which was at the top of the table. So I guess at the top of the spirit board portion, up there by the yes, no, and the sun and the moon. And I was filming from that direction, watching all of our equipment go off. And luckily, at the beginning, I'm kind of turned this way, so we catch that corner with the sun in it. And I paused that video, and I'm looking for a penny. And I took that picture of the screen. I said, definitively can say no penny on the table the night before. So how the hell did that penny get to that table?
I don't know.
And when I first got there, what reminded me that I had to give Jenny her pennies was I walked in, there was a penny laying in the middle of the floor of the room that I was going to stay in. And the next morning, didn't we also find a penny
There was
laying
one
on the
in my
floor
room.
in your room?
Yep.
Mhm.
While we
And-
were
And there was one downstairs somewhere too.
Downstairs
that
in that main room,
wasn't.
there was a
and
penny.
was there one in the kitchen?
There was one in the kitchen.
and then there were 2 in the room that I stayed in that balcony portion that Tim slept in.
Yeah.
There was 2, one on the nightstand and one on the floor.
That's right, because I found those
Mhm.
and I dropped them in the little dish that was sitting on the table. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know where all these pennies came from, but this is
Now-
weird.
And it was nuts because it was just pennies. There was no quarters, there were no dimes, no nickels. You were just finding pennies left and right.
Now, explain to me how, though, Shelly, when you and I think Ryan, you went with us maybe
Mhm.
the next morning. We went into Jenny's room
Mhm.
and you looked over and you moved everything by her feet. And you said, I brought her pennies and I brought her a nickel. And the only damn thing that was there was that freaking nickel.
What? I
Only
didn't
the
know about
nickel.
that.
All the pennies were gone.
All the pennies were
What the
gone.
hell?
Every one of them. There was not one penny on that dresser.
I have a theory.
No shit.
She bundled those up and that chick crawled out there and she's flinging pennies walking down the hall. I know she was. And then she was able to skitter back up there and she's like, I didn't do anything.
Well, Dan did just say she runs real fast to put them there. You might be onto something, Shelly. You might be onto
Yeah.
something.
I'm telling you.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, she looks like she'll bite you. That's why I won't stay in that room. I'm not going to stay in that room because I don't want nothing coming. I mean, I could just see her, me waking up in the middle of the night. She's like, and I'm like, ah, no, no.
Yeah, as Dan said, move over, Chucky. We got Jenny.
Child, that, and I don't like dolls anyway, but I make a point to be real nice to her.
Oh yeah, me too. So let's briefly touch on, because there is one room in between Jenny's room and the room that I stayed in, which is the bathroom, which we're not going to spend much time on it, but because we've never really done anything in there, except maybe go to the bathroom.
And even then, you feel like you need a partner.
Yes, agreed. I call it the bathroom buddy system. I told Rhonda, I was like, look, bathroom buddy system, when we get there, every time I got to pee, you standing outside the front or outside the door.
Y'all are such babies. Stop that.
I don't care. There is something. If I walk into that bathroom, and I wish I had a picture of the bathroom, but of course we're not going to take a picture of the bathroom.
That's
But anyways,
weird.
it's a really small. It's a pretty small bathroom. All it has in there is a single standalone vanity combo sink, just very little. Clawfoot tub to the right and a toilet to the left. That's it. That's all that's in there. And it's that clawfoot freaking tub that has I call it the psycho tub because it has the shower curtain that goes all the way around it. And, if you go in there taking a shower, that's, yeah, that part. It's something with that tub.
Something with the tub. Something's wrong with that tub. And you remember before we went, I said, I'm going to go get in that tub. Yeah, I didn't do that.
You didn't do it. But you know what? I'm going to agree with Stacy. You never go alone. That's the whole point. You don't go to the bathroom.
You know,
I don't care.
I went to that bathroom
I don't
several
care.
times by myself, and
I did
it was
too.
all right.
Well,
when
y'all
we-
left me upstairs by myself, and me and my Chihuahua bladder. I'm like, oh my God, I have to pee again. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going by myself.
No, I told Stacy, I think whenever we were all on the phone one night, I said, Stacy, I said, from now on, we go back to Old Park and you're with me. You're my bathroom buddy. I said, that's it. You ain't ever got to go alone, and I ain't ever going alone. So anyways, moving on from the bathroom. We need to investigate that bathtub just to see,
Okay.
I
I will get in it next time.
maybe take a bath, Shelly.
Do you think I'm getting naked with Deacon running around up there? I think not, and not in the psycho bathtub.
Exactly.
I'll be doing this, and like, you know what though? I will be willing to do this if I do decide to take a shower in there. First of all, I'm gonna have my drawers on just in case I got to come out of there fast. Ain't no need to show everybody my business. But I'll run video. I'll run video and audio and see if we catch anything. But I'm gonna have something on because if I got to come hauling out of there naked and wet, probably not a good thing. So yeah, I'm willing to do it.
We'll just call that cameras down moment whenever Shelly's in it, just in case she has to come sprinting out. That's the break time right there.
You know what? I know y'all. I know y'all somehow be like, "Whoops, we forgot to edit this." No.
Not me. I'd be standing. I'd be standing right in the middle of the hallway, going, "Run, Shelly, run!"
I know you would. That's why I'm going to have my drawers on.
Exactly.
So I'll put on my bathing suit or something.
Ghost Hunters, raw and uncensored.
Everything vaguely paranormal, naked and afraid.
You know what? You better trademark that because I think you're onto something. A bunch of naked ghost hunters.
Naked ghost hunters.
Yeah. I think you're onto something. I volunteer to you to be the first victim of that.
And if somebody pulls out a K2, I ain't using it. Because I don't know where it's been.
Yes, right. Where'd you get that from? So next to the bathroom is the room that I stayed in. And Shelly, for the life of me, I ask you the name of that daggum room every single time. What is the name?
That one that you stayed in?
Yes.
I do not recall, but I call it the pink room. It's the pink room.
Is it something azaleas or is that another one?
Maybe.
They all
It's
have.
not the Oleander room, is it?
No, the Oleander room is the yellow room.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the yellow
That's
one.
the Oleander room.
So we'll just call it the pink room.
The pink room.
Well, Dan's on here. Maybe he'll tell us what it is.
Yeah, he'll tell us. Anyway, so go ahead.
My brain's farting. So this is the room that I stayed in. Now, this room, as you can see from this picture, has two rooms in it, two beds in it. One's a double, one's a single. It has its own bathroom, and that's where the single portion bed is kind of out there with the balcony. So the only experience that I had in this room all night. Now, after we
and I recommended that room to you.
Yeah, Dan called it the pink room too. So
okay,
we're just gonna go with the pink room. So now I had three people that it was one of they hadn't gone on many investigations. So they were all like, "Oh no, you're the professional. You're gonna stay in the room with us. You're gonna sleep with us. You're not leaving us." And I was like, "Okay." 3 people, 2 beds. I took a blow up mattress. So I put the blow up mattress on the floor. I'm laying literally right where that rug is. There goes Shelly again.
Oh man. I think she might have smacked it with her cord again.
Or something. I don't know.
But
at least we're not having as many issues as we have with Yorktown.
I know.
No, don't bring it up. We'll all fall off.
She's back.
So I'm laying there right where the rug's at. Okay, I'm standing in the door taking this picture. That's the view that you get when you stand in the door. I'm maybe 8-10 inches away from the door, and I have my back to the door. And all of a sudden, outside the door, I hear again 2 little footsteps. And they stop at the door. And all of a sudden, I have nothing here to do it with, but I'm going to try it with my mouse here. But all of a sudden, I hear like a on the door handle. And in my head, I went, "Oh, fuck no." Because I know if that door opens, it's going to bump into the air mattress, and I am right there. No, thank you. So I just said out loud, I was like, "Ooh, I just got really uncomfortable." And and Rhonda pops up. She's like, she was feeling real good that night. By the time we went to bed, she was feeling great. And she just goes, "Well, I'll sleep down there. You want me to sleep down there?" I ain't gonna argue.
Let the lady have what she wants.
She is just drunk enough to never remember. So I hopped up into the bed. She got down on the air mattress. Now I'm laying there, okay, and there's another person in the bed, and I'm trying to go to sleep. So I like roll over and I face the wall. Okay. Well, they rolled over and their arm came over as well, and then they're like, "Oh, that's uncomfortable," and then flip back over, and they're facing back towards the door. Y'all, I'm not kidding. In that moment, and it was not the person that was in bed with me, I had something full hand cuppage, my right ass cheek.
Oh my God.
And just slightly, ever so slightly squeeze. And in my head, I went, "Nope, that was them. That was the other person. That was the other person. I'm going to bed. I'm not fucking dealing with this." I'm trying to, everybody else in this room has had a lot of alcohol. I'm the only sober.
We hadn't. they were there to have fun. We were there to investigate.
Yeah.
So,
We were sober.
We were the ones that were like, no, because if these fools get something happen to them, we got to be in control,
Exactly. Exactly.
And they had a great time. We were investigating. They were having the time of their life.
Yeah.
But we were stone cold. Like, we're not playing with this. We don't joke around as far as that's concerned. No. We saved that for after the investigation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So full hand cuppage of my right ass cheek in the bed with me, and I was like, I'm just going to bed. I can't
You're
do this.
welcome.
That's going to be your autobiography, full hand cupping.
Full hand
The
cuppage.
Blake story.
So
Now, I did warn you about that door, though. I did warn you about that door.
You did, but
Well-
you told me that they didn't like it opened.
They don't like it
Now,
open.
you
They
did
don't pull
tell-
it closed.
Yeah, and you did tell me that they would jiggle the door handle,
I
but
did
you
tell you
told
that.
me that it was the one on the balcony, not the one that I was
They do
sleeping right
both.
next
They do
Yeah,
both. They do
It's
both.
true.
But
Yeah.
it's
And now
usually the inside. Go ahead.
And now that you say that, didn't your aunt?
I'm sorry.
So
So
Dan
we'll
says-
call that one the cupper.
The cuppers. It's Cupper's room. Yes.
Yeah, the cupper. Yeah.
So
Sorry, go
but
ahead.
Earlier in the evening, didn't your aunt, when she was changing into her outfit, say someone tried to open the door and we were all downstairs as well?
I believe so. Yes. Yes. She
Yeah.
said that something had happened up there, and I think it was with the door that somebody
Mhm.
had either moved it, tried to shut it, or tried to open it. One of those. So yeah, it's. Oh no, it was the balcony. They jiggled
Jiggled the doorknob, yeah.
That's what it is. They
On the
jiggled the
balcony.
doorknob. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now that brings us to the last little clusters of room and the last little portion that we are going to talk about. That includes the room that Shelley loves to stay in, and that
My favorite
Ryan,
room.
you actually stayed
You were
in
my
as well.
you were my room partner.
Yeah.
And it's Preston's parlor, so y'all two stayed in there. So take it away.
Well, Preston's parlor was the room I was in. Now Ryan was actually in Pruitt's wildflower room.
Yeah.
Now Connie and I have
Mhm.
this theory that we're actually related because both of her maiden name is Pruitt and my maiden name is Pruitt, spelled a little differently, but we actually have common relatives that trace back to a specific area. But Pruitt's wildflower room is what you're looking at right there.
Mhm.
And in this room, there's a poker table. Now,
Mhm.
whenever we've stayed there before, like I always take Preston's parlor because I have fortunately, usually been left alone in Preston's parlor. They usually don't bother me too much, except for the last time I was there when Paula stayed in the room that Ryan was in. And I always put in my earphones and I always turn up my show on my little screen really, really loud because once I decide to go to bed, y'all leave me alone. You've had all night, leave me alone now. And, I turned on, Gordon Ramsay's, not Gordon Ramsay, Paul Hollywood and the Great British Baking Show because, I'm not going to hear anything odd there. I'm not going to hear any screams or anything like that. And we got back to it, and I thought I heard jingle bells. Jingle, 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 jingle. Now, there are jingle bells on some of those doors. And that's a paranormal investigator trick so you know if somebody's messing with the door handle. And child, it wasn't Christmas, but I'm hearing jingle, 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 jingle. And I know I ain't getting nothing from Santa this year, so I don't like who the hell's outside this door. And later on, Paula said that she had heard jingle bells. Now, I thought I heard them coming from more on her side, where Ryan had stayed this time. She thought she heard them coming from my side. Now, I had not told Paula this until later. After I heard the jingle bells, now I'm laying there like this. And you pull the covers up because those are magic. If you can get the covers up and they can't see you, then they can't get you. So I've got the covers up like this, and I'm just doing this.
I'm not here.
And yeah, it's like, I'm not here, you can't see me. And I see something that I think there's this little chair. See something standing by the chair, kind of like this, like it's kind of looking over that chair, and that's a low chair.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, oh, hell, I'm going to have to get up out of this bed and kick somebody's ass. I'm thinking there shouldn't be anybody in here. So me with my, me being all brave and stuff, I'm like, get out of here. Get, you go home. Get out of my room. Go home, I'm serious. Child, I was real brave as long as that cover came up here and I go, get out of here. But then I didn't see it anymore. Now, this time, whenever I slept in that room, I didn't even give him that chance. I went up before y'all because I'm thinking, I'm going upstairs. And then I realized again, I'm up here by myself. What am I doing? And I get in, and I'm like, nope, I'm done. I put those earphones in. I turn up the murder channel as loud as it'll go. I'm like, well, if there's going to be screaming, I'm not going to know if it's coming from in here or in my earphones. I'll be good. And so, and I'm telling you, I went right to sleep. But I wake up about, I don't know, 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning, and all the lights in the room are on. And I'm thinking, Ryan had left the door between the rooms open. And so I'm thinking, okay, my God, are they still investigating? I'm like, hell, they're leaving me out. I got to get my ass up out of this bed. So I get up, and I'm always very cautious because I'm like, got to make sure there ain't no monsters. So as soon as I was sure there were no monsters underneath the bed, I hop out, and I'm like little cat paws, just, and I look over, and I can't see Ryan. Ryan's a big old tall guy. I should see his feet hanging over the end of that bed. I don't see no feet. So I'm like, oh crap. So I get a little closer into the room. Still can't see Ryan. I'm like, where in the hell is he? I have to go all the way in the room. Ryan's all balled up like this, asleep in the corner of the bed. And I'm like, okay, he's fine. So I went back to bed. But Ryan had left on all the lights. Ryan, I've never seen you leave on the lights. What was going on with that?
What wasn't going on? Jesus Christ. I mean, so when we first got there earlier that day, and we were claiming rooms and everything, I was trying to get my because we were all dressed up in costumes later at night. I was trying to get everything out of the bags and stuff. And Shelly, you and John had walked out onto that balcony. So me, you, and John were the only three that were upstairs. Everybody else was downstairs doing something. And y'all walked on the balcony, and so I'm sitting there and I'm looking down, and you know how if you're looking down, you can still see things out the corner of your eye. You can still see your peripheral. Yeah. So I'm standing there and I'm trying to unbutton my vest or whatever, and as I'm doing that, I see somebody go down the hallway like that real quick, and I looked up and I said, Shelly, John, was that y'all? Didn't hear anything. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And so I went back doing what I was doing, and y'all came in about 5 minutes later. I said, one of y'all didn't just walk down the hallway, right? And you were like, no, we've been out on that balcony talking, and everyone else was downstairs and other parts of the hotel. There was no one else on that floor except for me. So I saw somebody do that. Well, then after we'd investigated all night long and everything, it was time to go to bed, and I go lay down, and I had my headphones too. And then I kind of thought about it. I was like, no, so I'm going to lay here and listen and see if I can't hear something. And
That's
God
a mistake.
Almighty, I don't know what was going on, but there's like a tin roof on that side of the room. Something was walking up and down that tin roof and beating on it. Like, bam, 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 bam. I mean, up and down that damn thing as loud as it could possibly go. And I'm laying there and I'm like, man, I don't understand. I was like, does nobody else hear this? Because this is loud as hell. And it sounded like almost like construction, like someone was like building something outside, but it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Everyone's laid down. Ain't nobody up moving around. And so there wasn't any wind that night. So I know there's not like a tree branch hitting the tin roof or anything. And I could not explain it. So I'm just laying there, and I laid there until I finally fell asleep. But the whole time I'm laying there, it was relentless. It was still going back and forth up and down that roof.
Now, John said he heard it all night on his side too.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Now, he was in Jenny's room, which is
Across
actually the
from
room
me.
across the hall from the 2 conjoined rooms that you two were staying in. So that's pretty interesting. Now, I was, what would that be? Technically 2 rooms down from John. I didn't hear anything.
I mean,
And
it sounded
basically
like,
in the same room with you, and I never heard it.
And Shelly was dead to the world. She was asleep.
That's right.
And I laid down about 4, and it probably took me an hour to fall asleep. So Shelly, you probably woke up about 30 minutes after I fell asleep, and it wasn't doing anything, was it?
I didn't hear anything.
I mean, it was as loud as it could be. Like I said, it sounded like somebody was just beating the shit out of that roof and walking up and down it. I cannot explain that. And I looked out the window the next morning. I was like, there's got to be like a tree branch or something. No.
There's nothing obstructing that roof at
No.
all.
Because, see, that's the hallway where on the left, where that door's open, is where Ryan was staying. And now Paula was staying in the right side, that first door on the right, which was the madam's room. That's where she was sleeping. But she said that she had heard banging and footsteps all night as well. So it's to me, it's well, maybe not all night, but during the time y'all were hearing them as well. So to me, it's really weird and kind of compelling. Shelly, I know you have earphones in, but we had three people that went to bed at the same time in our room. One was already asleep. We didn't hear anything. Nothing. Now we did scare the shit out of Paula by walking out on the balcony because that window right there.
Balcony right there.
It's right on the balcony. And I didn't tell her before we walked out. We're all trying to go to bed. And me and Rhonda and Kev were going to just walk out there and just chill for a second. And I get back to our messenger. And all I see is, I hear talking. I hear banging. Oh, they're talking again. I hear footsteps. And I was just like, I'm sorry. We went out on the balcony. My bad.
And I believe the response was, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah, that was pretty good. But she said she still heard it again after we came inside.
After you had texted that, it was still just as loud as ever outside on my side of the building.
Yeah.
And there is no balcony on your side of the building.
No, it's just that tin roof that goes around right there. I mean, it was just as loud as it could be. I have learned. I fell asleep, but I did. I
have learned in the 8 or 9 times that I've been to Old Park, if you truly need to catch a nap, you better put your earphones in. You better turn them up as loud as they'll go, and just, the covers are magic. Keep them up here, and because even though the last time that I went, that I did have in the earphones, something jingled the bells loud enough to wake me up, and I did hear those. That's when I was like, yeah, I didn't really know. So if they want you awake, they will. They will wake you up. But me, I was just like, I'm like, nope, turning on the murder channel loud as it'll go.
And it was so, like, towards the end of the night when we decided to go to bed, I mean, it was so quiet you could have heard a pin drop until we laid down. And then when we laid down, that's when everything went haywire.
And interesting enough, whenever we did a second Estes method, which that's also posted on the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it, and Ryan was leading, and I actually said to Ryan or somebody, I heard a female in my headphones go to bed. And it was just kind of like, go to bed. Because that's about the time everything was kind of settling down. And I just got the go to bed. And I thought, you know what? That's a damn good idea. I believe I will.
Yep. But that actually, I think that's just about every room.
Well, there is one more that's next to the madam's room, and that is the one with the round bed.
That's true. And
and that actually has a balcony with a sitting room on it.
I have the picture of that.
Yes, and I really like that room. I've never stayed in that room. That's not a room that I tend to get a lot of activity in, but they have had people report that there is a woman that sits out on that little door that you see at the back. There's a woman that actually sits out there on that little couch that's out there, and she's actually been seen and photographed from the windows from the street. Again, it's alleged that she also will come and stand at the end of the bed. Now, again, I've never stayed in that room. I have never gotten a lot of activity in the room. So, again, I know the rooms I like. I know the rooms that's where I go first. So I have we need to make sure that let me get my notes. Investigate the old woman's room.
So we got Bonnie and Clyde, staircase, old woman's room.
I forgot staircase. I'm right.
Bathroom, bathtub.
Bathroom.
Bathroom.
I love you, Shelly. But y'all, I think that really is about every room in Old Park. I mean, I know that there is the store downstairs, the living room, and the kitchen. We have had a couple of profound things happening in the living room, where we played tag on the K2 meters. Unfortunately, we don't have any evidence from that. I don't think we recorded any of that on that trip.
I actually recorded it. I recorded when we played tag, but unfortunately, I get impatient if they don't come on, and I just quit. I'm like, I can do better taking pictures. And of course, the second I stop recording, that's when everything's going beep, and I'm like, oh, I see how you are. Yeah, I see how you are. So,
now, we didn't record it, but if y'all remember, the one weird thing that happened to me down in the kitchen is I went downstairs and I went to go grab a soda, and there's a swinging door that goes off the living room that goes into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I opened it and closed it behind me. And I'm grabbing a soda out of the fridge, and I hear the door open and start swinging back and forth. And I thought Shelly had come in behind me, and I turn around and there's no one else there. And I was like, and I started hollering for y'all, and y'all.
I was
like,
actually standing in the. So you had walked in, and I was actually standing in the little gift area, their little reception area. I was standing in there, and that little sitting room was between us. I had followed you that far, and then I'd stopped to ask a question, and you had continued on, and that's when you're like, "Did you just come through this door?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like walking and go, "What? What's going on?" And you should have seen, Blake, you should have seen. He's like, "I swear, this door." And we're like, "Oh yeah."
Because when I turned around, it had closed back, but it had closed back with such force that it went forward and came back and went forward and came back again until it finally settled on the spring. And I was just like, I don't know what that was, but I could have swore Shelly came in behind me, but I guess you didn't. I don't know who was behind me.
It wasn't me this time. No, but I have laid on that couch that's in that sitting room, and almost fallen asleep, and just kind of, it's like really early, and I decided I would sleep there. And I have seen that door go, and I'm like, oh, hell no. I guess I'm awake for the rest of the night. So,
But
Well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just going to say, I mean, any last, I think we covered every single room in Old Park. I mean, is there any last thoughts on
What I was going to
experiences
say
there?
What I was going to say is someone who is an Old Park virgin, this was my first time going. I can't wait to get back. I think it is a very, very cool location. We got a lot of great activity. Dan and Connie are awesome. Just the history of the place is awesome. And everything about it, it's one of the coolest places I've ever been. And
did we ever sell it?
No, not at all. I had a blast. I thought it was great. And y'all said it was a slow night. So if that was a slow night,
that was a slow night. Compared to the last time that we were there, when you couldn't move without something happening or being pulled into different rooms. This time now don't get me wrong, they gave us really good evidence. And we got really good evidence and really good responses. But I'm telling you, that was a slow night at Old Park.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine how crazy it is on a night when it decides to show off and act up? Now it was showing off, but it wasn't acting up and going sideways, showing off.
And something, I'm glad you said that and reminded me of something, because there was at one point where somebody, because we did like a little mini SS method at one point before we filmed it. And they weren't really talking to the person that was under. So whenever we pulled them out and we pulled the spirit box off and set it in the middle of us, I asked the question, I said, you guys weren't talking. Do you guys like an audience? And then immediately after it was like, yeah, well, yes.
I kind of like you, idiot. Of course we do.
I was like, okay, well, you guys like an audience. So, I mean,
I will be happy to give them one anytime they'd like.
I want to go back today. Can we go back today? So
we're working on something.
Okay.
We have something in the works. Maybe bring a few people with us.
Yeah, never know.
Stay tuned.
But if you want to try and go, y'all who are watching, to spend the night at the Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas.
It is not your typical hotel. You can only go on the weekends, and you have to rent the entire venue.
Exactly. So you can go to Old Park Hotel. That's OLDEPARKHOTEL.com. And you can check out their book. I hope I spelled that right. Sorry, Dan, if I didn't.
You did.
And you made a little jingle for them and everything.
I know, I did. You can check out their booking calendar. You can see if they have a date available for you, and you can book overnight. And as Shelly said, you have to rent out the entire venue. It is not a typical hotel. So know that going
into it. And it's only on Friday and Saturday nights. And so that's when you can rent it.
And I think that they are already starting to book up for the first half of this next year.
They have a lot of the first half of the year already booked up. So if you want to go book it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, should I go ahead and put that on my notes too? Go ahead and book our
next just go. Yeah, just book. Yeah,
yes,
book Old Park yesterday.
So we got asked, do you guys ever take people with you? Yes, we are trying to work on taking people. We'll just go ahead and put this out there and manifest it, and so everybody has the answer on tape. Yes, we are working on trying to, again, be able to lead groups through different locations that we do find and we do take on board. We do have things in the works for after the beginning of the year. Hopefully we'll be able to start that. And we also are open to the idea of trying to bring certain people on these investigations with us. And the other thing we are open to is coming along with you. If you want us to tag along with you. So if there's a place that you want to investigate, and you
and you want
us to
somebody
come
who
along,
has the equipment or the toys, drop us a line of where you were. Then what we're going to talk about next week, we were invited along with a group. You are not going to believe what happened when we visited the Hill Manor in Gainesville.
scariest night.
Scariest night I've ever had as a paranormal investigator. And I've been at Yorktown a bunch of times, and I've been at Ballinger a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
The scariest night I've ever had as a paranormal investigator. And that's going to be next week. So for this week,
my name is Blake Smith. Got Ryan Roberts, Shelly Pruitt. Remember to go find us and follow us on social media platforms across. We are on Twitter, we are on Twitch, we are on YouTube, we are on Instagram. We do not post everything on one social media platform. We post a lot of different things on a lot of different sites. So go find us, Everything Vaguely Paranormal, on all of those sites, and make sure that you stay tuned for what we have coming up, including our in the works bonus content.
and
Y'all are gonna
go
love it.
and watch the entirety of those unedited Estes methods. And again, be ready to just laugh.
Yeah.
Thank you
they're-
guys for watching Everything Vaguely Paranormal, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye,
Later,
y'all.
guys.